Welcome to Medical Intuition Illuminated, the podcast bringing light to the wisdom of the body. I'm your host, Laura Wise, a medical intuitive and psychic medium dedicated to helping you understand the subtle and layered ways your body communicates. Here, we explore the meeting point of intuition, physiology, and energy, approaching the body not as a puzzle to fix, but as a wise, expressive system that's always speaking. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not medical advice, and it does not replace professional healthcare, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider for any medical concerns. This episode contains a real medical intuition session. All participants are anonymous, and any identifying details have been edited out to protect privacy. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. So before we get started, just want to say that I'm not a licensed medical practitioner. And so we'll be looking at the energy of the body today and your body. But we're not going to be talking about doing any diagnosing. We're not going to be talking about any named conditions unless it's something that you bring up that you want to look at the energy of. We're not going to be saying we can cure anything like that. Along those lines, I also may bring up recommendations around things like food, supplements, other modalities or practitioners, and I do that all with the caveat that you check in with your own personal care team before making any changes to your routine. Okay. Before we get started, do I have your permission to read you and your body and energy today?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to start by going ahead and reaching out to you with my energy. And I usually start at the top of the head. And a lot of the times the first thing that comes through is kind of just how your mind works and how your energy is. Okay. First of all, I just feel like this overwhelming sense of love and just, you just love the people in your lives so deeply. You have a lot of caretaker energy about you, and just it's your immediate family, but it extends to your general community that you love really hard. You care about people. They occupy a lot of your thoughts. A lot of the time is just kind of really always thinking about how can I help this person? How can I help this person? How can I make this work? And sometimes it feels really overwhelming. And especially at this time, they're saying like you're really ramped up about that. Does that make sense?
Very true.
Yeah. I am sensing a little bit of sinus pressure through here. This almost feels like maybe you've been having some kind of seasonal, stuff with the seasons changing and just kind of like cold-esque. It's like, it feels like you're right on the edge of possibly getting something. So I just wanted to remind you to support your immune system with things that are going on, because it feels like when you get a chance to sit down and rest, and we're kind of moving into the holiday season, it's like, that might kind of hit you. So if you can do some things to support yourself now, they're bringing up sleep, especially. Like it feels like it's been really hard for you to get a full night of sleep. They're actually showing me that you're almost like waking up in the middle of the night and like, oh, I have this list of all these things that I have to do. And it's like stirring in your mind. Does this make sense to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been myself good.
Mm-hmm. So, and they're saying like, you're really good at being on top of things. So they really want to say like, remind yourself that you will handle it, right? Because sometimes in the middle of the night, I feel like our brains feel more worried about things than they are. And then we like wake up and we're like, actually, I know I've got this on my checklist, right? So just allowing, reminding yourself, my job right now is to sleep and to rest. I am seeing a little bit of grating in the teeth in the back of the jaw area. And that's an ongoing thing. And I almost is seeing almost some like, that's interesting, some holding of the tongue or biting of the tongue. And a lot of times this is like literal and symbolic, right? And so there's some certain things in some relationships right now where you are really having to hold back on what it is that you want to be saying about it. Part of it is that they're not ready to hear it, the people that you want to say the things to. And that it's Yeah, they're bringing up something around work, around not being able to talk about things specifically work related. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah, to
Yeah.
some degree. I think I
Yeah.
mind my P's
Okay.
and Q's a lot more than I probably should.
And no, it's good. It's good, right? It's a good professional thing. But sometimes it's almost, yeah, you worry about what it is that you're saying so much that it's like there's a biting down that's happening. And this is also with
Absolutely.
there's some familial relationships that this is also related to as well. Um, you're so careful with your words, and you've really had to cultivate that in your life over time. It's almost like you were trained from a very young age to be careful with what you say, because those things were punished in a big way when they were not withheld, right? So you become like a master of it, but it can be taxing to hold it in, because you have really strong opinions and you are right most of the time. Right? You see something coming down the road and you're like, this is going to happen. But then you're like in the let them phase, right? Where you're like, I just got to let them, like, there's no point in being right in this circumstance. Right. Um, so just holding space around that for you. It does cause a little bit of tension down the back of your neck and into your shoulders as well, just that holding pattern. And that also will contribute to this kind of like seasonal downturn of your immune system, because it's causing a little bit of tightness in that throat and the jaw. And that leads to kind of some stagnation within the lymph nodes, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, and I see it goes all the way down your arms even, because they're showing there's like tension. It's almost like gripping the dentist chair kind of thing, right? Where you're like kind of digging your hands into the into things. And they're showing the steering wheel, like when you're driving. It's like there's a lot of these thoughts happening.
Yes.
Um yeah, so allowing space for yourself to take a deep breath, um, and letting some of those extra things go. Um, and there's a lot of things that you could just put a little more space around allowing to happen, right? A little bit more space of trusting the universe and that things are going to unfold in the best possible way in your interest, and having a little bit more space around that, because you've had to for a long time like really keep everything together for a lot of people, and it's been on you. But there's also a beauty in just kind of letting things unfold, and trusting that the universe actually, even if it's not going to your plan, the universe might have a better plan for you than what you expect could unfold, if this makes sense. Okay, we're going to look into your chest and lung space. I also see a lot of breath holding as well, so just kind of tightness within the breath space. That is kind of like holding your breath, waiting to get through some period of time. Have you ever done any breath work?
Very, very little.
I highly recommend it. If you can find, there's a lot of different modalities. So if like you try one modality and it doesn't work for you, you might want to look into some other ones. Um, but really just kind of relearning to capture your breath, because there's a lot of holding that happens with the anxiety. Like the anxiety will spike and then it's like, I've got to get through this, and taking deep breaths, because I'm seeing a lot of tightness through that. You look at, yeah, and I'm seeing some congestion in the lungs as well, which is related to the seasonal stuff. Um, I'm gonna say that you tend to, we'll look at see more when we get to digestion, but I'm gonna say you tend to run on the warmer side and wetter side of
Hmm.
things. And so I'm seeing that pattern within the lungs, that it tends to be kind of like more mucousy and more wet in that lung space. Um, Okay, I'm not seeing any grief in the lungs. Let's look into your heart space. Such a big heart. Like your heart is so big. It lives so much outside of your body, right? It's like in your energy field all the time. Um, they're showing me something about like loving people from afar. Do you have some people that are really long distance that you're kind of like caring for energetically, that
I
are
was
far
dating
away?
someone for 4.5 years that was long distance, but we
Okay.
ended that.
Okay. Um, Got it. Yeah. And it just feels like there's still
Yeah.
a connection with this
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm feeling a chord as well that is connected to. How do you feel about there being a chord with this person?
I mean, I love him, so it's hard, you know.
Yeah. Is that something that you would feel ready to release?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me make a note of that. And that's some work that we can do within the healing portion. And we'll come back and we'll look at that more deeply energetically when we get there. Okay. Um, all right. So let me look at some other systems here. So they're pulling me into the pancreas specifically. So it feels like the pancreas is doing a lot of extra work around digestion right now. It's creating a lot. It's just, and part of that is adrenal functioning as well. You're running on like energy all the time. Go, 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 go. They're showing me a lot of like, not a lot of pausing to eat and digest. It's almost like you're eating on the go on a regular basis. It's kind of taking meals where you can. Does this make sense to you?
100%.
Yeah. So that, and they want to connect that into the digestive pattern. So let me look. Yeah. And you run hot, right? So you like will, your digestion is really strong and sometimes it's almost too strong. So you might get some indigestion, some like acid reflux that happens, heartburn, that kind of thing. Um, I'm seeing, do you do coffee in the morning?
I do coffee now.
A lot of coffee, feels like
No, like a
sometimes.
cup or two. If I drink too
Okay.
much, it's
Yeah,
panicky.
because your system's really sensitive to that it and how do you take it?
It's a little bit half and half.
A little bit of half and half. Okay. I would recommend if you can, and it might be hard with your busy schedule, that eating a little something before that, having that coffee in the morning is really going to soften its effect on you because it really gets things going with your digestion, which is good, but it can kind of almost be too much and it turns the fire way, way up within your digestive fire. So if you can have even a little like, oh, what are they showing me? Doesn't feel like dried. Normally I would say dried fruit, but that doesn't feel right. Um, yeah, something like a little padding, like a carb or something, even a banana or something to really soften the blow before it gets into your stomach. If you have it first thing in the morning. I'm bringing up carrots. That's so specifically carrots for you. So do you like carrots? Do you incorporate
Yeah.
those? Okay.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, those feel really good. Red meat is a little bit hard on your system. Fish is great. Do you do animal proteins?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Fish is really great protein for you. Chicken is great. You digest that really well. But red meat just can stir up some of those things as well.
Okay. That
So
makes sense.
I want to take a look at that. Is there anything? I'm not seeing a whole lot of like intolerances or allergies. It's mostly just about kind of the way the layering is. With your constitution, you do really well with like raw vegetables and salads, like your body digests them really well. But it's about kind of layering them in. They're also bringing up cabbage as well as a great roughage for you, raw specifically. Um, and they're also recommending a probiotic as well. So, or probiotic foods specifically. So things like krauts, like a probiotic kraut, kombuchas, things like that to kind of really kind of calm things down a little bit in there as well.
Definitely don't eat enough of it. Like I know I should.
Mhm. Yeah, it's hard to get them in on a regular basis sometimes, especially because the fresh ones, right? You have to keep them fresh and that's challenging. So I get it. So let me look at if anything, I think dairy can be a little sensitive for you. It's not to the point of it being like an intolerance. But I would say like, yeah, yogurts are good, but what are they showing? Yeah, butter is can be a little bit acidifying because your stomach already goes towards the acid side of things. Okay, so pulling me into liver. Liver governs the emotion of anger. Um, and they're relating this back to what we talked about with your jaw and your holding of your tongue, right? Is that you naturally run hot. And so that also translates to having, you feel anger really intensely in your body when you feel it. It's like, and the way they're showing it is almost like you feel it, it passes through, and then if you express it, it kind of like it's over, right? And then it's gone and it's kind of out of your body, right? But sometimes recently you've been really tempering how much you're getting out of your body. And so instead, it's kind of like circulating and staying in there. Um, it's you're comfortable with your anger, you're comfortable with feeling your own anger. It's there's a challenge with expressing it and feeling like you're able to express it comfortably. Like and they're almost saying that when you were younger there was a lot of examples of unhealthy anger expression that you experienced and that tempered the way that you're like I never want to be like that. And so you're so careful with it. Um but they want to remind you anger is a it's messages, right? It's information that is telling you that either your boundaries have been crossed or there's other things going on, right? It's information um and that you should trust yourself a little more to be able to speak anger into the world without causing harm.
That's a big one.
Yeah. um and they don't say anything about us working on this today, but they really say that you're doing a lot of work on your own with this. Yeah. So they're saying continue that work. Um, but they are recommending having a neutral party to be able to like express that anger to that's not going to take it personally because there's a lot of people in your life that would take it personally if
Yeah,
even
for
if
sure.
you are very careful with it. Yeah. So this could be a therapist. It could be somebody who just doesn't know the parties involved. And you're so careful. There's talking the word trauma dumping came up, right? So you're so careful not to be that person sometimes that you deny yourself the honor of releasing your own anger.
It's funny. I feel like I'm like, oh no, I feel like I talk about my feelings. So it's
Oh,
funny because
really?
when you're not wrong. I'm
Mm.
so mindful. Like if I do trauma dump, I'm like, oh my God, let me energetically clean that up. I should not have
Mm-hmm.
so, so like hyper mindful.
Mm-hmm. They want me to express to you that you're feeling your anger so much more inside that you think that you're coming across more strongly than you are when you're expressing it and that you're actually very careful and so the cleanup isn't as necessary as you think it is, right? So you feel like because you know what it's like to be hit with all that anger and so you're working so hard not to be that
Yeah,
that you're it becomes comes back to this like self-judgment thing that kind of layers on the anger, right? Instead of it getting out of your body, it then kind of turns it into a weird other thing, if that
totally.
makes
No,
sense to you.
100%. It's almost like self-loathing, right? So when
Right.
I'm mad at
Hmm.
me for being mad at somebody else, they
Yeah.
did justice.
Yeah. And the 99% of the time you are you're totally justified in what it is you're feeling, right? We all have moments when we're like
Yeah,
things happen, but like you really you have a fair mind, you have a very fair like understanding of relationships. um and so you should trust yourself and your friends really they care, they really want to hear it. Like the people that you express this to, they want to hear the real truth, they do.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
um
I have good friends.
yeah. Yeah. Like family, they're saying. And yeah, like
They are.
family.
Yeah, they're my family for sure.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. Okay, so we're looking at let's go from stomach into digestion. I would say that if anything, it's like you do have a fast digestion and that it goes almost too fast sometimes. I do see a little bit of bloating and gas that does get built up. Um, they're saying it's from stress in particular, right? So it's and there's also a feeling of like sometimes when you don't eat as well as you think you should, there's a lot of punishment that you do for yourself around it. You're like, oh, I didn't eat this really well, and then it sits in your stomach and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that, and that process is actually makes it less good for you because you have judgments about what it is that you ate. Does this
Totally.
make
Okay.
sense? Yeah. So they're saying that particularly around this time, right? We're going into holiday seasons. There's going to be things that we're going to eat that maybe, we wouldn't like normally or whatever. Really just say, I'm nourishing my body, right? Like this is what I'm eating right now. There's enjoyment that I'm getting out of it on a certain level, right? And
Yeah,
that is like there's joy in it. There's the sharing of food with friends and family. All those things are really important around kind of just honoring like the opportunity, and giving that food positive energy and like not letting it take over, right? And giving yourself grace around it. Because it almost like it, you have naturally a fast digestive system, but when you do that, it like slows it down and then it stops and it's like, wait, should I not absorb the like nutrients from this or not, right? And it
Totally.
kind of slows that process
So much
down.
self-judgment.
Hmm. Right. Yeah. And there's a lot about accepting, really, just like it's like once we accept parts about ourselves, then it is from there that we can change. But when we get into the self-judgment cycle, then it, that's its own kind of thing. Um, they brought up fiber 3 times, so I'm gonna have to say that. So adding a little bit more fiber. Do you ever do beans?
Yeah, I actually like them more, but I have such judgment around them because I feel like I was a
Mm.
child of the 90s and I
Mhm.
think carbohydrates are bad for you, which is so
Oh.
ridiculous. Like I know rationally, but I do
Mhm.
really well with legumes and beans.
Yeah. Yeah, beans, they're great and they're powerhouses and they absorb stuff, right? So if you have like maybe you haven't there's like parts of your meal that weren't as, nutritious, right? They're going to absorb some of those things and move them through. So
Awesome.
they have a lot of extra, different benefits. Yeah, the fiber is great. So if you like them and you know which beans,
Yeah,
any beans, it's like all the beans are good for you. Some people are sensitive to some, but like, yeah, I'm just seeing that they're all really, really great. So, um, they're showing me like a bean salad, like
I love
particularly.
that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Because they're also saying like the vinegar is really because there's like a vinegary kind of essence to bean
Yeah,
salad,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
that's really good. Those kind of vinegary flavors really help kind of cool things down with the heat of your digestion as well. Um, okay, talked about that. And your colon looks a little bit inflamed. I think that so colon and lungs are linked. So they're saying this right now. It's kind of connected to that seasonal, like you being right on the edge of getting sick a little bit. Anything else about colon? All right. So let me look at kidneys. Yeah, your adrenals are going so hard right now. They're just on and you got this like hyper vigilance thing of like, did I do all the things? Did I check off all the boxes? Am I considering everybody's feelings? Check, check, check.
All the time.
Feels like your job's a little bit stressful as well. Just it's just like you have to be on, really, really on when you're on. No? Is
I
that
feel like I'm on all, yeah, I have,
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and I don't work like a ton of hours, but I have,
Mhm.
like when I'm on. And I feel like with the kids and life, like I feel like I'm constantly
Mhm.
asked to be on.
Mhm. It's like with your work, it's like when you're there, you have to be like very mentally present
Oh, yeah.
on it. Yeah, it's like a lot of attention to detail, a lot of moving parts. And oh, do you ever do baths? Any bath?
No,
Yeah, because they're showing me just like giving yourself spaces where your nervous system can actually calm down. Okay, and adrenals is something that we're gonna look at in the healing portion as well. So let me make a note of that. Because there's a pattern there that's from your childhood of having to be vigilant
all
in
the time.
in a deep way. And so it's kind of like you turned on from a young age and never really turned off, like go, go, go. Um, okay. Show me hips. You have very good, like good foundation. Like your hips are very strong. That usually tells me you have a really good foundation of who you are. Like you understand yourself really well. That's something that you've worked on and cultivated. You have a lot of stability in your life that you have worked and created. So that's really amazing. Um, I do feel like one is that the left side. The left side gets a little tweaky sometimes in the hip joint, so you get some
My
sciatic
SI
pain.
joint is like my arch nemesis.
Um, and this is also holding, this does relate to a lot of the self judgment that you have about yourself. Um, it's like the sense that's coming through is like, I gotta be better. I gotta be better. I gotta be better. I'm
All the
not good
time.
enough yet,
Yeah.
and that's really, really deep in there. Work on that. They're saying not that we're not going to work on that today. It's something that you're working on in a lot of avenues within your life already. But right now, the medicine is to surface it with you and to bring that up. Um, so notice when that starts to go again, when the tightness comes in there, I want you to just pause and notice what it is that you're thinking about, what it is that's happening in your life, and seeing how you're what you're tightening around. So that's the homework around that one. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Get through strong legs, very strong legs. You're sitting a little bit too much. Your legs would like you to move a little bit more. um, do you do a lot of driving too?
I feel like, I mean, yeah, I have kids. I feel like I'm
Okay.
like an unpaid Uber driver.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So it's just a lot of, and then like, there's like a certain tensing that happens when you're driving with your legs that they're kind of like, they're kind of tight all the time from that, like the trafficness of like stop and go. Um, Let me see how we're doing at time. Okay. I'm going to finish up here and then I'll check in with you to see if there's anything else we didn't get to. Right knee sometimes will get kind of achy and will swell up a little bit. Is that the
Well,
same?
that, yeah,
Yeah. That often, when I see that, that's often a sign that somebody is like that's when you're doing too many things for other people when it's on the right side. So just notice if you're carrying too much for others in that time. I imagine it's hard to put some of those pieces down sometimes. Um, but the word grace is coming up around just giving yourself grace around what you already carry and taking stock of how much of that you can let go from other people. I see a little bit of swelling through the ankles and a little bit of just kind of fluid retention in the lower legs and the ankles. Is that something? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I feel puffy a little bit in my feet and
Okay.
ankle.
Um, and again, that's, part of that is movement and lymph, but it's like it kind of relates back to the adrenal pattern we're seeing of that just being on all the time is kind of your body's kind of tensed in this fight or flight. And so that will kind of keep the lymphatic system from kind of fully moving things through. Um, they're bringing up baths again as another thing. And they're specifically mentioning like a magnesium bath. Do you enjoy them?
Yeah, I love a
Okay.
bath.
Okay,
Bathtub
great.
is just weird. And so I share it with my kids and, like,
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Totally. Yeah, and it's like it's like they're showing me like hard to like get the time alone. Like you get in the bath and then they're like, "Mom, like
yeah,
this,
I literally
mom,
go to
like
the bathroom
that."
and the dog pushes the door open,
Hmm.
right? Like,
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's really tough. Yeah. So if there's some way you can find a way to soak it, and they're even just showing like even if you can just do like a foot soak in the evening too, that can
totally.
be helpful as a way to kind of let things go. The last thing they want to bring up is practices around like turning things off at the end of the night, right? To put things there like I have done everything I can for today and like closing it down energetically, right? And especially like with work too, there's a lot of like it pings you energetically in the middle of the night. So if it's at all possible to kind of create any rituals around closing the day down, like washing your hands, closing a door, something around really creating space for yourself from that and saying, kind of, I've done as much as I can for today, and rest is the thing that I'm doing. Okay. I'm going to pause there. Was there anything that you wanted more information about or that I didn't get to that you wanted to look at
As
energetically?
I get, I'm 45. So
Mhm.
now I'm like worried about like I had three, not cysts, but like three fibroids in my uterus that we had to cut out.
Mhm.
I'm like, am I okay there?
We didn't look specifically at reproductive. So let me take a look at, um, they're showing me the left side. Do you know what side they were on?
I know.
Okay. Um, So there is a little bit of stagnation of energy within that area. And I am seeing kind of like an older trauma pattern with that. Do you have any like history
Yeah.
around trauma in that area?
fair amount of it.
Okay. Um, yeah. And so that's kind of, it's like some of the resonances around that. And part of it is there's still this like this self-blame aspect that is part of it, and self-judgment aspect around that
Yeah.
trauma with it. Um, that is still just present. And so that's kind of what was causing those. We're gonna work with that energy first and foremost. Okay. And I
And
know
you
that
can
this.
use it. I mean, I know like it's personal. Obviously, it's not my name, but I feel like so many of us, like I know for me, I went to, which is fun. It's not fun, but it's fun. About a year and a half ago, I made a commitment to myself to like tell my story. I was like, no, you're just gonna say it, you're gonna write it out. And as I started writing it, my hands froze. Like literally my hands
Oh.
froze. Like I couldn't even open doors. It was like my body was like, you will not speak. You will not speak.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, you know, ART and like doing the things and like allowing myself to give the courage to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I like didn't haven't written all the things, but I was like, no body, like we're gonna talk about it. So as much as there's a part of me, it's like, no, don't. It like continues the shame pattern if we don't talk about it, because I know that I am not the only woman that
Mm-hmm.
has been a victim of rape or abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I know that I'm not the only one that carries it. And I do. I believed and I still like I know in my rational brain that it's not my fault.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't my fault any of the times that it happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
but I would be lying if I said that I still, at the core of me, believe that I could have done something different.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to share it because it's part of what, like the work that you're doing is right. Like that's why we come to you.
Mm-hmm. That's
Parts
really
of
beautiful.
ourselves.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah,
for saying all that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
So a lot of times what I see is like it's like the belief that you held at the time it happens is kind of what gets lodged in the tissues. So even though maybe you've changed, you've mentally worked on it a whole bunch, right? Within the tissues, that emotional energy is still present from the person you were at that time,
Yeah,
right? If that makes sense.
100%. Yeah.
Um, okay. Um, so that we'll definitely work on that first in the healing portion, and kind of unpack that a little bit, and we'll move that energy out of your tissues. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover before we change to
Oh, I think I'm like you hit all of it.
beautiful? Okay, so now we'll move into the healing portion. Following the assessment, we end the session with a healing where we unpack the root causes of the stagnant energies that were surfaced during the walkthrough of the body and systems. The information quickly gets very personal and detailed, so in order to maintain the privacy and anonymity of my participants, I don't share these sections on the podcast. They're also not ideal for an audio format, as they often include long stretches of silence while we work with visualizations, meditations, and other kinds of energy work. Thanks for listening to Medical Intuition Illuminated. If this episode resonated, be sure to subscribe and share it with someone who might benefit. Special thanks to Derek Ryan for music. Until next time, listen deeply to the wisdom of your body. So I can